Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year. It is 2022. About damn time. Oi, game, there you go. You didn't want to show up for some reason right away. Oh well, and now it's here. So, like I said, I'm coming back to Katawa Shoujo for one last route. Which could eventually evolve into me wanting to do the other endings for all the other routes, but we'll see how that goes. We'll see. Because, well, if anyone that does not know, I'm actually gonna just kind of confirm the exact date for myself, so uno momento. Yep, alright. Because, on January 4th, so in 3 days, Katawa Shoujo turns 10 years old. This masterpiece of a game is turning a decade old. I'm really sad I only got into this thing last year, honestly. I only got into it, I've only played it for like a year. That's it. And yet, it feels so much longer than that. It feels like this series, this game has been with me for longer. I mean, at this point, you all know I really love this game. It has managed to make me actually cry. It's made me cringe. It's made me just, you know. The music, the writing, all of it is just... And I've only been able to experience this for a year. That's it. Some people have been with this thing since the very beginning, like back in the planning stages of 2005 when they're trying to throw this thing together. Then here we are. All started from just a simple image in the back of a doujin. I'm sorry, I really like this. You know, you know how much I love this, honestly. Just hearing this music again. It's just great. It's like seeing an old friend again. As I've heard a lot of people say, playing this game and then looking back on it, it's not like, oh, that was just a great game. It was like, it felt like you were there. Like you're actually there. You got to know these girls personally. Like they were legitimate friends. Like you were legitimately friends with them. They were actual, full-on, real-life people. That's the kind of emotions this thing, you know, gives. But I think it's enough about me gushing about Katawa again. Because we have quite a bit of a journey ahead of us. Well, not really, but still. We got a bit of work to do. I did leave one route, in quotes there, route, untapped. There's one more thing that I can do, and to celebrate Katawa's 10 years, I'm gonna go through that route. I'm gonna finish that off fully. It's gonna be interesting, and I am gonna go start to finish with this one. So I'm literally gonna click start for a new game. Go from the moment we get our heart attack up to the very end of the route. I'm not gonna do the skipping thing because then this would take all of maybe, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. Nah, this is gonna be like a... If I could do this in 3 streams, that'd be great. Mostly because I think I'll be able to miss out on a bunch of scenes with the choices I have to make. I think. I've got myself a flowchart I can look at. It's not like the flowchart I had before, sadly. It's a little bigger and probably a little more complicated, in all honesty. But yeah, I can make it. I can make it work. I can make it work. Or at least, you know, it tells me what I can do for everything. And then, if that inspires people to want to see me play through the game again, but get one of the bad routes, like bad endings or neutral endings, or if it just inspires someone else to want to pick this game up and play, that'd be great. It is free, still 100% free on their site, on the site. It's there. Look it up. You get the download code. You can also download the soundtrack for free. Yeah, this is a game for free. Made by just a bunch of randoms off of 4chan. And I mean a bunch of randoms. A lot of them are now just, you know, leading regular lives. They were young then. They could spend their time working on this game that they were getting no monetary compensation for. It was a passion project. And I could not thank them more, honestly. Alright. I've definitely lingered long enough, so, let's just kinda... Okay, I can just get rid of this. I was gonna use this as, like, a starting point to get onto the bad route initially, but... No. No way in hell am I doing that now. And that's also just an older save, so... That can go away. And that can go away. So there's my initial 5 saves for each of the girls that I did. Hey, Hylian, Happy New Year, buddy. Hope you're doing well. What's this? It's, Katawa Shoujo. This was the first visual novel I finished on stream last year. I'm coming back to it to do the last quote-unquote route that I didn't do back then. And I'm just kind of reminiscing. Because holy shit, this game is just... I've only known about this game for maybe a year and a half at this point, but it really holds a special place in my heart. Just this menu music is already throwing me back. It's that kind of music, it just makes you feel nostalgic, not for anything in particular, it's just that... Yeah. It really does just kind of take you back, lets you lean in a chair and just... Yeah. So, just a kind of the quick overview, if we remember. Those are 5 saves from the 5 routes with the 5 girls in the game. We finished Lily route first, my absolute favorite, and Lily is my best girl. God damn it, Lily. Next up was Emmy, that little bundle of energy. Then we had the timid Hanako. The very calculating Shizune with, you know, Misha also there. And then finally we had the very complex and hard to understand Rin. If you do not know, Hylian Katawa Shoujo was a visual novel made by people off of 4chan based off of a single image from the back of a doujin released in 2000. The game is turning 10 years old as of the 4th. And it is a visual novel about going to a school for the physically disabled and, well, dating girls with physical disabilities. And it takes itself 100% seriously. From something off of 4chan, this thing is serious and treats it with, like, massive respect. See, how much of the game did I actually manage to finish? Library. 93% complete all of Act 1. Yeah, I'm gonna get some of that stuff today. Okay, just 93% done the whole game. Yeah, some of these are for the bad ends I did not get, or just alternate decisions that didn't really do anything in the end. God damn, there's a lot in Rin. Oh yeah, honestly, it is a great game. It is amazing. It has gotten me to cry on stream. I mean, I turned my screen away, so I wasn't actually physically crying on stream, but there's a good, like, 10 minutes of me just trying to fucking hold it in and power through. So I'm just coming back to it to finish the one route that I didn't do, just to celebrate its 10 years. Meaning I get to do a bunch of voice acting again. It won't be nearly as much though, because I'm not doing an entire full-on route. I mean, look at the run times. These were the final saves before I just pushed on and finished off the game, like that route. So 16 hours, 15 and a half, almost 16 again, like 12 and a half, almost 13 hours. Goddamn. Alright, now I think I've dawdled long enough at this point. I'm going on nearly 20 minutes. And that's probably the second time I have said that. Oh well. I love this game, okay? I'm allowed to love things. Alright. Gonna fire it up again. Just gonna go start to finish in about, hopefully in 3 streams. I would love to do it in 3 streams. Damn, you doing work on this, let's go. Oh, I did a lot of work on this, man. I went pretty hard on this one. Alright, start to finish. Full-on voice acting, courtesy of myself. Here we go. Thanks for the host, Hylian. Sorry, we get to experience everything again. A light breeze causes the naked branches overhead to rattle like wooden wind chimes. This is a popular retreat for couples in the summer. The deciduous trees provide a beautiful green canopy, far out of sight of teachers and fellow students. But now, in late winter, it feels like I'm standing under a pile of kindling. I breathe into my cupped hands and rub them together furiously to prevent them from numbing in this cold. Just how long am I expected to wait out here anyway? I'm sure the note said 4 p.m. Ah yes, the note. Slipped between the pages of my math book while I wasn't looking. As far as cliches go, I'm more a fan of the letter in the locker, but at least this way shows a bit of initiative. As I ponder the meaning of the note, the snowfall gradually thickens. The snowflakes silently falling from the white-painted sky are the only sign of time passing in this stagnant world. Their slow descent upon the frozen forest makes it seem like time has slowed to a crawl. The rustling of dry snow underfoot startles me, interrupting the quiet mood. Someone is approaching me from behind. Thank God you barely have any lines. Hi, Hisao? You came? A hesitating, barely audible question. However, I recognize the owner of that dainty voice instantly. I feel my heart skip a beat. It's a voice I've listened to hundreds of times, but never is more than an eavesdropper to a conversation. I turn to face this voice, the voice of my dreams, and my heart begins to race. How the hell did I pronounce her name again? I'm trying to be consistent here. I think I went with Iwanako last time. Yeah. Iwanako? I got a note telling me to wait here. It was yours? Damn it. Spent all afternoon trying to come up with a good line, and that was the result. Pathetic. Yes. I asked a friend to give you that note. I'm so glad you got it. A shy, joyous smile that makes me so tense I couldn't move a single muscle even if I tried. My heart is pounding now, as if it were trying to burst out from my chest and claim this girl for itself. So, here we are, out in the cold. Once again, the wind stirs up the branches. The cacophonous noise is music to my ears. Iwanako flinches ever so softly against the gust of wind. As it passes, she rights herself, as if supported by some new confidence. Her eyes lock with mine, and she lazily twirls her long, dark hair around her finger. All the while, the anxious beating of my heart grows louder. My throat is tight. I doubt I can even force a word out if I tried. You see, I wanted to know if you'd go out with me. I stand there motionless, save for my pounding heart. I want to say something in reply, but my vocal cords feel like they've been stretched beyond the breaking point. Hisao? I reach up to try to massage my throat, but this only sends spikes of blinding pain along my arms. Hisao? My whole body freezes, save for my eyes, which shoot open in terror. Hisao! The beating in my chest suddenly stops, and I go weak at the knees. The world around me, the canopy of bare branches, the dull winter sky, Iwanako running towards me, all these fade to black. The last things I remember before slipping away are the sounds of Iwanako screaming for help and the incessant clatter of the branches above. How's that for an opening, Hylian? Get this man some milk. Oh yeah, it's definitely a heavy intro. It really catches your attention. I mean, it starts. My man needs a little more courage. It's been 4 months since my heart attack. In that whole time, I can probably count the times I've left this hospital room unsupervised on one hand. 4 months is a pretty long time when you're left alone with your thoughts. So I've had plenty of time to come to terms with my situation. Arrhythmia. A strange word. A foreign alien one. One you don't want to be in the same room with. A rare condition. It causes the heart to act erratically and occasionally beat way too fast. It can be fatal. Apparently, I've had it for a long time. They said it was a miracle I was able to go on so long without anything happening. Is that really a miracle? I guess it was supposed to make me feel better, more appreciative of my life. It really didn't do anything to cheer me up. My parents, I think, were hit harder by the news than I was. They practically had 2 hemorrhages apiece. I had already had a full day by then to digest everything. To them, it was all fresh. They were even willing to sell our house in order to pay for a cure. Of course, there isn't a cure. Because of the late discovery of this condition, I've had to stay at the hospital to recuperate from the treatments. When I was first admitted, it felt as if I was missed. For about a week, my room in the ward was full of flowers, balloons, and cards. But visitors soon dwindled, and all the get-well gifts began to trickle down to nothing shortly after. I realized that the only reason I'd gotten so many cards and flowers was because sending me their sympathy had been turned into a class project. Maybe some people were genuinely concerned, but I doubt it. Even in the beginning, I barely had visitors. By the end of the first month, only my parents came by on a regular basis. Iwanako was the last to stop visiting. After 6 weeks, I never saw her again. We never had that much to talk about when she visited anyway. We didn't touch the subject that was between us on that snowy day ever again. The hospital? It's not really a place I'd like to live in. The doctors and nurses feel so impersonal and faceless. I guess it's because they're in a hurry and they have a million other patients waiting for them, but it makes me feel uncomfortable. For the first month or so, I asked the head cardiologist every time I saw him for a rough estimate of when I'd be able to leave. He never answered anything in a straightforward way, but told me to wait and see if the treatment and surgeries worked. So, I idly observed the scar that those surgeries had left in my chest slowly change its appearance over time, thinking of it as some kind of an omen. I still ask the head cardiologist about leaving, but my expectations are low enough now that I'm not disappointed anymore when I don't get a reply. The way he shuffles around the answers shows that there's at least some hope. At some point, I stopped watching TV. I don't know why, I just did. Maybe it was the wrong kind of escapism for my situation. I started reading instead. There was a small library at the hospital that was more like a storeroom for books. I began working my way through it, one small stack at a time. After consuming them, I would go back for more. I found that I liked reading, and I think I even became a bit addicted. I started feeling naked without a book in my hands. But I loved the stories. That was what my life was like. The days became increasingly harder to distinguish from each other, differing only by the book I was reading and the weather outside. It felt like time blurred into some kind of gooey mass I was trapped inside, instead of moving within. A week could go by without me really noticing it. Sometimes, I'd pause in realization that I didn't know what day of the week it was. But other times, all the things that surrounded me would painfully crash into my consciousness through the barrier of nonchalance I'd set up for myself. The pages of my book would start to feel sharp and burning hot, and the heaviness in my chest would become so hard to bear that I'd have to put the book aside and just lay down for a while, looking at the ceiling as if I was going to cry. But that happened only rarely. And I couldn't even cry. Yeah, pretty heavy stuff. He's recuperating. He's like in 18, 19, and suddenly, hey, you have a heart attack and a heart condition. Have fun with life. So now he's got some sadness on steroids. Today, the doctor comes in and gives me a smile. He seems excited, but not very. It's like he's trying to make an effort to be happy on my behalf. My parents are here. It's been a few days since I'd last seen them. Both of them are even sort of dressed up. Is this supposed to be some kind of special occasion? It's not a party. There's this ritual the head cardiologist has. He takes his time sorting his papers and then setting them aside as if to make a point of the pointlessness of what he just did. Then he casually sits down on the edge of the bed next to mine. He looks me in the eyes for a moment. Hello, Isao. How are you today? I don't answer him, but I smile a little back at him. I believe that you can go home. Your heart is stronger now, and with some precautions, you should be fine. We have all your medication sorted out. I'll give your father the prescription. The doctor hands a sheet of paper to my dad, whose expression turns wooden as he reads it quickly. So many. I take it from his hand and look at it myself, feeling numb. How am I supposed to react to this? The absurdly long list of medications staring back at me from the paper seems insurmountable. They all blend together in a sea of letters. This is insane. Side effects, adverse effects, contradictions, and dosages are listed line after line with cold precision. I try to read them, but it's so futile. I can't understand any of it. Attempting to only makes me feel sicker. All this for the rest of my life, every day? I'm afraid this is the best we can do at this point. However, new medications are always being developed, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that list fade over the years. Years? What kind of confidence booster is that? I'd have felt better if he hadn't said anything at all. Also, I've spoken with your parents, and we believe it'd be best if you don't return to your old school. What? Please, calm... No, sorry, this is Dad, sorry. Please, calm down, Hisao. Listen to what the doctor has to say. Calm down? The way he says it tells me he knew full well I wouldn't like it. Am I gonna be homeschooled? Whatever my concern shows, it's ignored. Y'all understand that your education is paramount. However, I don't think it's wise for you to be without supervision. At least, not until we are sure that your medication is suitable. So, I've spoken to your parents about a transfer. It's a school called Yamaku Academy that specializes in dealing with disabled students. Disabled? What? Am I... It has a 24-hour nursing staff and is only a few minutes from a highly regarded general hospital. The majority of the students live on the campus. Think of it as a boarding school of sorts. It's designed to give students a degree of independence while keeping help nearby. Independence? It's a school for disabled kids. Don't try to disguise that fact. If it really was that free, then there wouldn't be a 24-hour nursing staff, and you wouldn't make a hospital being nearby a selling point. Of course, it's only if you want to go. But your mother and I aren't really able to homeschool you. We went out there and had a look a couple weeks back. I think you'd like it. It looks like I really don't have a choice. Compared to other heart problems, people with your condition usually tend to live long lives. You'll need a job one day, and this is a good opportunity to continue your education. This isn't an opportunity. Don't call it an opportunity. Don't call it a goddamned opportunity. Well, you should be excited at the chance to go back to school. I remember you wanted to return to school, and while it's not the same one... A special school. That's... an insult. That's what I want to say. It's a step down. It's not what you think. All the students there are pretty active, in their own sort of way. It's geared towards students that can still get around and learn, but just need a little help. In one way or another. Your father's right, and many of the graduates of the school have gone on to do amazing things. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. One of my colleagues in another hospital is a graduate. I don't care. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. That's what a disability is. I really hate that something so important was decided for me. But what can I do about it? A normal life is out of the question now. It's funny. I always thought my life was actually kind of boring. Now I miss it. I want to protest. I want to blame this lack of a reaction on shock or fatigue. I could easily yell out something now. Something about how I can go back to school anyway. But no. I don't say anything. The fact is that I know now it's futile. I look around the room, feeling very tired of all this. The hospital, doctors, my condition, everything. I don't see anything that'll make me feel any different. There really isn't a choice. I know this, but the thought of going to a disabled school... What are those even like? As much as I try to put a positive spin on this, it's very difficult. But let me try. Clean slate isn't a bad thing. That is all I can think of to get me through this. At least I still have something. Even if it is a special school, it's something. It's a fresh start, and my life isn't over. It'd be a mistake to just resign myself to thinking that. At the very least, I'll try to see what my new life will look like. Back to Act 1, Life Expectancy. Fun fact, all the pictures of the school are actually of Brown University in America, just with a filter over them to sort of match the art style of the characters. And then a lot of the outside settings are places in Japan, like I think it's Sendai or something. They actually had everyone, like from 4chan, like submit pictures that could be used in the game. And they went with these ones. So there's a lot of people going to Brown and taking pictures of them in front of these gates in front of the main school. First act is with a heavy start. Yeah, it just throws you right in there. And you can really get a feel for where our character's head is at. He is not happy. He is very, very... not great. He's got that sadness with steroids going on. The gate looked far too pompous for what it was. In fact, gates in general seem to do that, but this one especially so. Red bricks, black wrought iron, and gray plaster assembled into a whole that didn't feel welcoming at all. I wondered if it looked like what a gate for a school should look like, but couldn't really decide. Probably no. Of course, I didn't even want stuck on thinking about the gate for too long, so I entered through it with a brisk pace that felt surprisingly good. Moving forward feels good. So I walked towards the main building of Yamaku Academy with this brisk pace. I'm alone, as my parents are taking my stuff to the dorms, and there's supposed to be someone waiting for me. The grounds are incredibly lush, filled with green. It doesn't feel like the kind of grounds a school would have. More like a park, with a clean walkway going past trees, and the smell of fresh-cut grass and all other park-like things. Words like clean and hygienic pop into my mind. It makes me shudder. I shake them off. Stay open-minded now. It's your new life. You have to take it as it comes. That's what A few big buildings loom behind the leafy canopies. Too big and too many for just a school. Everything seems off. It's different from what I thought I knew about schools. It's an uncanny valley. Even though I was told this is my new school, in the back of my head, it doesn't feel like one. I wonder if the feeling is real or caused by my expectations of the school for a school for the disabled. Yeah. Great, getting tongue-tied already. Speaking of that, I don't see anyone else here. It's kinda eerie. It makes me wish there was somebody here so I could anchor myself to something tangible, instead of having this feeling that I stepped into another dimension. The trees hum with the wind, and the green hues flashing all around me catch my attention. It makes me think about hospitals again. How they say that the operating rooms are painted green because green is a calming color. So why am I feeling so anxious, despite all this greenery? Only after I stand in front of the haughty main building, I surprise myself by realizing why the gate bothered me. It was the last chance I had to turn back, even if I had no life I could return to. But still, after entering, there was absolutely no way I could go back anymore. Feeling nervous, and with this realization set in my head, I opened the front door. A tall man with bad posture notices me as I enter. We're the only people in the lobby, so it's only logical. You must be... Nikki? Nakai. So you are. Excellent. I'm your homeroom and science teacher. My name is Muto. Welcome. We exchange a handshake that is neither firm nor sloppy, and he looks at his watch. The head nurse asked you for a brief check-in visit, but there's no time for that now. Oh. Should I go later? Yes, afternoon is probably fine. We should get going and introduce you to the rest of the class. They're waiting already. Waiting for me? I don't really like being the center of attention, but I guess it's inevitable in a situation like this. Somehow, not knowing what is waiting for me makes me feel really nervous. Thinking of this, I almost miss what the teacher is saying. Do you want to introduce yourself to the class? Yeah, first of our choices, and as you can see, I've already done both of them in some capacity, in all my other routes. For the route I need to get on, I need to say why. I need to have no brownie points with, like, anybody. So, why? Why? Do I have to? Of course not. That's why I asked. Right. Let's go then. My heart is pounding in my chest, and it keeps me thinking about my condition as I follow the teacher up the stairs. The third door down the third floor corridor is marked as the classroom for class 3-3. Muto opens the door and enters. Good morning, everyone. Sorry I'm late again. I hesitate for a split second at the door, freezing on the spot. Get a grip! This is a big step, I know that. There isn't any point to worrying so much about it. At least not this soon. I follow the teacher into the classroom and look around. Partially so I won't have to meet the curious gazes of my new classmates. It's pretty spacious. The seal is unusually high, and there's a lot of space left over around and in between the desks. An entire wall taken up by blackboards and the high, old-fashioned windows only make it seem larger. The students' desks are just standard wooden desks with a shelf underneath for books and wooden chairs with metal frames. Simple and efficient. I stop walking in front of the classroom and face the other students. They all look normal, like students in any other school. But then, why would they be here? They're probably like me and have something wrong with them, only it's just not immediately obvious. Then I notice that one of the girls seems to be missing the thumb of her right hand. It's a little jarring. Despite the natural tendency to listen when someone's talking about you, I tune out the teacher's speech halfway through while he introduces me to the class. I notice a flash of dark hair and see that someone's looking at me. A girl with really long, straight hair that is pretty eye-catching. As she sees me looking back at her, she covers her face with her hands as if it will make her invisible. There's one boy with a cane leaning against the lockers at the rear of the class. It's weird seeing someone so young with a cane. That girl at the back next to Sleepyhead looks like Ritsu from K-On! Yep. I think that was sort of intentional. I mean, in the original beta for this at the classroom, one of the people was literally just, hey, there's just Lelouch from Code Geass. Yeah, I believe, Totally Not Ritsu, has a carpal tunnel in this. Just kind of a backstory the devs just kind of said quick. Yeah, they have carpal tunnel, that's why they're here. Pretty, depressing for what K-On's about, then. One of them getting fucking carpal tunnel of all things. Another girl seems to be making some weird hand motions. Sign language? She peers at me over the rims of her glasses, and then goes back to doing whatever she's doing. Are all these characters based on someone else? No, not all of them. The Ritsu's the standout one. Everyone else just kind of random people they came up with. Yeah, that's the only one that seems to be based on someone, and I think I think initially it might have been unintentional. Hell, one of the first ones we saw that was in the far right at the left of our screen, like all the way when we first saw the pic of the class. One in the back that has heterochromia. That's literally just the anime avatar of one of the people that made this game. He just threw his, gender bent, avatar in, because it fit. That's adorable. Yeah. She's kinda cute. So is the cheery-looking girl with pink hair sitting next to her. She's really hard to miss. I don't know how I didn't notice her the moment I walked in. Please, welcome our newest classmate. He claps his hands, and so does everyone else, except for one girl in the first row who has only one hand. I cringe a little, but hide it by bowing in thanks for this applause I did not deserve. After the applause, there's a brief silence that nobody seems to want to be responsible for breaking. The teacher soon realizes that he should probably say something. He opens up with some unintelligible noise, shuts up as he loses momentum, and then starts introducing me. Nobody seems to be too interested. Maybe I should have said yes to the self-introduction thing. Probably realizing he doesn't know anything about me, he just ends up saying my name wrong again and asks me to write it on the blackboard. I do that and turn to face the class, feeling awkward. I listen to the teacher as he drones on about getting along while letting his gaze sweep across the classroom. Everyone seems to be listening to him intently, and when he's done, they clap their hands again, which feels like a weird thing to do. The first row girl claps on this round with her one hand against her other wrist that ends in a bandaged stump. Makes me feel a little bad. We're going to be doing some group work today, so that'll give you a chance to talk with everyone. Is that okay with you? Yeah, it's fine with me. That's good. You can work with Hakamichi. She's the class representative. Boy, great. Oh my god. I forgot how soon I'm gonna have to do this. Fucking. She can explain anything you want to know. And who else would be able to do that better, right? How could I know? The teacher passes out the day's assignments and announces we'll be working in groups of 3. It hits me that I don't know who Hakamichi is. Slow. The teacher seems to catch my helpless expression. Oh, right. Hakamichi is right there. Shizune Hakamichi. Oh god. Great, this is gonna be fun to do again. And I've almost had a tea. Shit. As he calls out her name, the cute, bubbly-looking girl with bright pink hair and gold eyes waves her hand at me. I take a seat next to her by the window, because of course, anime-style protagonist always has to have the seat by the window so he can, you know, look out and ponder everything. Hey, I guess you're Hakamichi, right? It's nice to meet you. This is gonna suck again. What? Caught off guard by her laughter. It's nice to meet you too. But I'm not Hakamichi. I'm Misha. This is Hakamichi. She-chan. God damn it. I'm never gonna get used to doing Misha. My throat will never forgive me. She's so fucking loud. Giggling, Misha points to the girl next to her, the one I saw using sign language before. It looks like she's been staring at me this whole time. She nods once nonchalantly to show that she acknowledges my presence, but only barely. She's mad, bubbly. Oh, yes. She has short, yet carefully, neatly brushed hair, a pair of oval-shaped glasses balanced on the tip of her dainty nose, and dark blue eyes that seem to alternate every few seconds between analytical and slightly bored. I don't know if I can keep up with her. No one can keep up with Misha. Oh my god. Nobody can keep up with her. It's nice to meet you. She immediately looks at Misha, who smiles and makes a few quick gestures with her hands. Akamichi nods and makes a few gestures of her own. I start to wonder if the teacher was messing with me, saying things like, "You'll be able to talk to people," and "Who better to explain things to you?"
I can see you're a little confused, right? Right? But I understand why you would think I was Shi-chan. Shi-chan is deaf, so I'm the person who translates things back and forth for her. I'm like an interpreter. She says it's nice to meet you too. Oh, God. You're the new student, aren't you? Well, Shi-chan, of course he is. If he wasn't, he wouldn't have been standing there for no reason, right? Right!
Misha looks at me with a weird expression, then continues.
We don't know much about him, but maybe we'll find out later.
Maybe I should have introduced myself after all. Anything would have given a better first impression than the teacher's drone and fumbling with my name.
We knew there was going to be a new student, but we didn't know you. We didn't know you would be here today so soon. He-chan, right?
He-chan?
Yep. It fits, doesn't it?
Did I say it out loud? It's just a surprise. I've never liked that nickname. I don't really see how.
It fits! You look just like I imagined. Yeah, you look just like a He-chan.
What the fuck? Well, what even is a He-chan? Oh god, I had to say that so many times in their route. He-chan, She-chan, over and over and over and over again. Ugh. My throat already hates me. I wonder why everyone seems to think so. She's too much? Oh boy. Oh, we're not even getting started with Misha. Akamichi taps her fingers on the desk to get Misha's attention. They gesture back and forth to each other excitedly, their hands a blur. Misha seems a little overwhelmed.
Sorry about that. Shi-chan wants you to know that she's the class rep, so if there's anything you need to know, you can feel free to ask her. Do you like the school so far? We can show you around a little if you haven't had time to walk around and familiarize yourself with it.
Misha stumbles with the hard word a bit, making it stick out in her otherwise fluid translation. Thanks, that'd be pretty helpful. Yeah, I just came straight to class today.
That's no good. You should always try to learn as much as you can about where you're going before you go there. Not just with school either. Always. Even if it's a trip to the convenience store. Really, Shi-chan?
Oh, God. Learn about where you're going? I guess I didn't bother to do that, or just didn't care enough to do so. I didn't look forward to this, even if I committed myself to go along with it half-assedly. But anyway, I don't say anything, and Misha signs something that ends in a shrug. What was that? Seems like it was about me. I feel like slumping over in my seat. Both of them are smiling, but that shrug hit me unexpectedly deeply.
You look down. Are you okay? Don't take it the wrong way, please. I hate when people are afraid to ask questions. That's how people learn things, by asking.
Man here is overthinking, he gotta chill. I mean, his life was turned upside down. You gotta give him a little bit of leeway here. He went like 18 years of his life and then suddenly has a heart attack. He could literally drop dead at any moment if he's just hit the wrong way. Like, if someone pats him on the back too hard, he'll have a fucking heart attack and just drop dead. He's a ticking time bomb.
Asking for help is perfectly normal, as much as needing help. Stop looking like you just failed a test.
Insert wahaha here. That I'm gonna carry over, just saying that. I'm not gonna do a wahaha. I will purely just say insert wahaha here, because she says it way too fucking often. Alright.
Ah, and another thing. You don't have to call Shi-chan something so formal like Hakamichi or class rep all the time. Just call her Shi-chan.
These gals are nice. It's safe. Yeah, they might be nice, but they're a little more devious than you'd think. They love to play games with people. Usually for their benefit. We'll see a bit of that.
Okay, maybe that's too casual. Maybe Shizune would be more appropriate? Yep. Shizune is fine.
Okay, that'd be a lot easier for me. Yeah, I'm not gonna immediately start calling someone by a nickname. I feel a lot more at ease. Both of them seem so friendly, so I feel like an idiot for being so apprehensive earlier. Especially about Shizune, who I assumed would be all business. Well, she still seems like that. Just less so, I guess. Shizune will try to fucking rule the world if she could.
Huh? Oh, right! We haven't even touched the assignment! We should start work now, or Shi-chan will get mad.
The assignment's also kind of long, so we should start now if we want to finish it before the end of class. Insert wahaha here.
That too!
Shizune glares at the two of us impatiently. I don't need to know sign language to understand that. Okay, I get the message.
After class, we can take a walk around the grounds together. It's a nice day today, okay?
The assignment is actually very challenging to get through, combining aspects of being both difficult and unnecessarily long. Alright, I'm only giving you 4 questions from the textbook to do. Question 1, A through D. Question 2, A through D. Question 3, A through D. Question 4, A through D. Like, fuck you! I hate that. Still, we finished it a few minutes earlier than anyone else in class, despite our late start. Shizune and Misha are really capable. They're quite different, though. The class rep is as calm and professional as she looks, while Misha is a lot more playful and girlish. Not to mention, a little more easily distracted. To be honest, the two of them did most of the work. I feel guilty about that. The clock tower bell rings, signaling the end of the period. Time for lunch. Without knowing what else to do, I follow Misha, who's beckoning me into the hallway and down the stairs. We descend even below the lobby where I met Muto, down to the bottom floor. Just like everything in this school, the cafeteria seems too spacious and oddly modern in contrast to the classic exterior. Its big windows open to the courtyard toward the main gate.
It's the cafeteria!
Her enthusiastic statement of the obvious makes people around us stare, but Misha doesn't seem to care, so we proceed to the line. There's a rather long list of menu options, which seems great, until I realize that many of them are to accommodate students who need special diets. How nice. Almost feels like I'm back in the hospital, eating portions measured with scientific precision to meet the needs of the patients. Here is your Jello cup, and your oatmeal, and orange juice. I pick something at random and follow Shizune to a table sitting opposite of her. As I nibble indifferently at the food I'd rather not eat, Misha pokes me in the side to get my attention and points to Shizune. I don't understand signs, so the point escapes me. Maybe looking at the person who talks to you is proper and polite?
Do you want to know something?
What?
About anything. We're your guides, so you should ask if there's something.
I wonder. Alright, I don't want brownie points. That gives me brownie points with one person. This gives me brownie points with another. I take the middle road, I get none. Ask just straight up about her deafness. Shizune intrigues me, and I kind of want to ask something about her. But I can't really ask about something that personal, can I? I can't come up with anything else to ask, so I just focus on my food while the girls talk between themselves. Misha and Shizune sign back and forth very animatedly, throwing sideways glances at me, but Misha refrains from translating. Maybe they're talking about secret girl stuff or something. I quickly notice a conversation in sign is not enough to fill a silence. We arrive in the classroom early, but we're not the first. That dark-haired girl I noticed before is slumped over her desk at the last row. She jumps a little when Misha crashes into the room with the elegance of a rhino. that description always gets me. The elegance of a rhino. I'm gonna just see where I'm at right now. Yeah, that's gonna go to that, which then brings me to this. Okay. Yeah, I'm just lining myself up on my little flow chart here so I know where and when and what choices I need to make to finish this off. And holy fuck, this goddamn flow chart. Man, I'd love to learn ASL, but it's hard learning on your own. Yeah, learning sign language is very difficult, and in Shizune's route, we do, learn it. Also, I just realized my camera is not properly aligned. So let me fix that. Took me way too long to realize that. Or it is properly aligned, it's just not big enough? Yeah, it's just not big enough. better. A little better. Eh. Yeah, elegance of a rhino is such a great description. Yeah, in Shuzune's actual route, we did ended up actually learning sign language because he wanted to actually be able to talk with her without always having Misha being there to translate for us. So her ... lines slowly got replaced with bracketed lines of what she's saying. She shrinks deeper into her seat. I can feel her tension all the way from here, as if she were slowly turning into stone just from our presence. Misha and Shizune either don't notice or don't mind it, as they walk directly past her to their seats and begin to converse. I'm left wondering about her, even when the classroom slowly fills with other students and finally the teacher. Getting into the rhythm of the school feels strange. It's as if my brain remembers how this is done, but my body doesn't. Toward the end of the class, I start yawning and counting the minutes left. I shouldn't be this tired on my first day of school. Maybe it's the long time spent in the hospital that made me like this. I'm even feeling physically weak and lifeless. Before long, the final bell rings. School is finally over for the day. Beside me, Misha and Shizune are having a short conversation. After a bit of deliberation, Misha turns to me.
Unfortunately, we can't stay to show you around today, Hee-chan. We gotta hurry already, since there's a lot of work for us to do. You'll find your way around here, I'm sure of it.
Wait! The teacher said I have to see the nurse. Where do I have to go?
Is that so? We can at least show you that much. Come on, the nurses have their own building, so we have to go outside.
We join the flow of students making their way down the stairwell and outside, with the girls pointing out other senior classrooms in the same hallway as ours. Yeah, also, he's in his final year of high school too, so yeah, his last year of high school, and he had to transfer schools after having a major heart attack. And lots of surgery and 4 months of recovery. Yeah. That also kind of contributes to his mood. I mean, would you actually be the happiest if suddenly, in your final year of high school, you had to swap schools, leave everything you know behind? When we get outside, the girls make their way to the smaller building right next to the school. It's built in the same style, so it looks like it's actually part of the main building.
This is the auxiliary building here. There's a lot of official and important stuff inside, like the Yamaku Foundation office and all the nurses' offices. They even have a swimming pool.
How is that official?
Don't be silly, Hee-chan. It's for physical therapy, of course. Anyway, all the nursing staff facilities are in there too. The head nurse's office is on the first floor. You'll be fine from here, right? We'll be going then. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks. Bye. A whole building for stuff that has nothing to do with actual education? I guess it's necessary for a place like this. I walk in, hoping this really will only be a quick visit, like the teacher said. On a white door on the left is a green cross with the text Head Nurse and a nameplate. A voice from the inside responds to my knock almost immediately, but I can't quite make it out. It sounded a bit like an invitation to open the door, so I invite myself further in. The room is not large and it smells strange. A friendly-looking man turns around on his office chair to face me as I enter. His desk is neat and tidy, but the bin under the table is overflowing with used medical utensils, and there are at least a dozen coffee cup rings lingering on the desk. Hello there. What can I do for you today? He is young-looking and sort of rugged, but the dimples in his cheeks wash that impression away when he smiles. Are you the nurse? He smiles like a person who has heard this very same question hundreds of times. Why, yes I am. It says so on the door, no? You can call me by my name, or just the nurse, like everyone else. Of course. I shake off my confusion, realizing I should probably grab his extended hand. His handshake is rather firm and friendly. Right. I'm a new student and my homeroom teacher told me to come and meet you. My name's Hisao Nakai. His eyes light up with revelation and he snaps his fingers. Oh, you're that Nakai. I was just reading your file in the morning. Some kind of chronic arrhythmia and related congenital heart muscle deficiency, right? He gestures me to sit down in a vacant armchair in front of his desk. Yes. Good. Well, you've probably been briefed about this school enough, so I'll just go over this quickly. We have all kinds of facilities available, mostly physical therapy and such. There's always someone from my staff around, even at night, so never hesitate to call us if there's a problem. The famous 24-hour nursing staff. Wow, this is like a hospital. Well, not exactly. For instance, we don't do brain surgery here. This joke feels so out of place, and I'm left thinking why I even said it. Yeah. Just that it's really weird to have so many medical people at a school. You'll get used to it. I'm not so sure of that myself, but I don't let the nurse know it. Now, let me find your file again. While he searches for something from his computer and shuffles stacks of papers around, I let my gaze wander around the room. It's the epitome of generic, I'd like to say. Yeah, really bad joke. Beige walls and ceiling, dark gray laminate flooring, and all the equipment you'd expect from a school nurse's office. Even the ridiculous educational posters are hanging on all four walls, reminding me to eat properly, 3 times a day and from all the food groups. Smiling, the nurse draws a thick file from a stack of similarly thick files and opens it. So, you already have medication for the arrhythmia. Just remember to take your pills every morning and evening, or it won't help, or won't be much help. Apart from that, do you do any sports? Rash stuff like, I don't know, boxing? He grins to his own joke, but I don't. Well, I played soccer occasionally with some classmates. Alright, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to recommend you refrain from doing that. At least, for the time being. Oh. My lack of reaction makes him raise an eyebrow, but really, I'm not too bothered by him forbidding me to kick a ball around. I guess I never did it out of a burning passion for the sport. Just to have something to do. Any kind of concussion might be very dangerous to your heart, and risking another attack is not a good idea. Was the previous one caused by a sudden concussion to the chest area? There's no mention of the cause in your papers. Well, what caused my first heart attack? Well, the girl I like confessed to me, and then I nearly dropped dead on the spot from, just panic. Not exactly. I sidestepped the question acceptably, and he glances at me over his papers with a more serious expression on his face. Still, you need to keep your body healthy, so some exercise would do you good. We have physical therapy and such available, as I said, but I don't think you need such heavy measures. Just get some light exercise regularly. Brisk walks, or even light jogging, jumping rope, that sort of thing. Swimming? Maybe. There's a pool here. So I was told. You were? Very good. At any rate, and I'm sure you've been told this before, you just need to take care not to overexert yourself. He wags his finger to emphasize the point. No need, really. I've heard this 1,000 times already. Absolutely no unnecessary risks. Take care of yourself. Okay. He goes over my papers one more time and sets them on the desk, obviously content. Good. That's it then. Come meet me if you ever need something. I'm ushered out before I even realize it. A quick visit indeed. I end up standing in front of the main building and the auxiliary building. Although to my eyes, they still look one and the same. It's the first real look I get at the other students, so I watch people coming out of the school, going toward the gate or the dorms. Everyone seems to know where they're going. And I still keep thinking that most of them don't look too special for being students at a special school. Then again, neither do I. Does that make me one of them? One of us? One of us. One of us. I should go somewhere too, to prevent me from getting lost. It's around dinner time, but I feel tired instead of hungry. The weariness in me only grows as I trudge toward the dorms, set a little way apart from the main building complex. There is a garden of sorts between the school and the dorms. Shrubbery, flowers, and that overbearing smell of fresh-cut grass that fills the atmosphere. It dawns on my tired mind that the smell feels novel because I haven't been outside at all for so long. Bruh, you're gonna frickin' sunburn immediately. Any kind of sun hits you, you're gonna burn. You've been indoors for fucking 4 months straight. The dorm building is big and made of red brick. Like the others, it feels way too pompous for what it is, so I push forward going inside. It takes more time than necessary to fish out the key I was given from my pocket. Room 119. Despite the ornate exterior, the inside of the dorm is fairly new, functional, and boring. Just like in the main building, the halls and doors are wide to accommodate wheelchairs. Same goes for the elevators at the end of the hallways. I poke my head around the corner of the common room door. Inside, a few students are watching the television. One nods and gives a quick hello before turning back to the TV. Seems that only the girls around here are sociable. I suppose that's perfectly fine with me. I climb the stairs to the upper floor. Here, small corridors branch off from the main hallway. Each of these minor halls seems to have a toilet and shower, as well as 4 rooms. About halfway down the hall, I spy room 119. The nameplates of the rooms adjacent to mine are blank. I guess there's just 2 of us here. Light shines from below the door of room 117, so I knock lightly. Hello? Is anyone home? From inside, I hear a few movements, then the clicking of way more locks than I thought these doors had. After a moment, the door squeaks open. The man of the hour! A bespectacled boy is standing in the doorway. He's looking at me very intently through his extremely thick eyeglasses. Who is it? Blind? No, at least not completely. Why would he have eyeglasses if he was? He leans closer to me until our noses are almost touching. His breath stinks of garlic. His Sao Nakai. I'm moving into the next room. I thought I should introduce my... His face suddenly brightens in realization. He stands back upright, thrusting his hand out in a smiling greeting, almost straight into my diaphragm. Oh, sup, dude? Name's Kenji. Hi. I take Kenji's sweaty hand and shake it, still a little rattled by the sudden change of attitude and vehement welcome. There's some suspicious-looking people going in and out of your room earlier. It was probably my parents. Your parents? You sure? Because it could have been some other people, too. You can't judge a book by its cover. This out-of-place proverb is left hanging between us awkwardly as I try to think of some way to respond. I'd say the chances are high enough. He shudders and makes some exaggerated hand gestures. You're a brave man, Hisao. Me? I don't think I could trust the chances. The only one I trust is myself. Does that mean I shouldn't get to know you either? He thinks about this for a while. A wise decision. Damn, you're smarter than you look. Probably. What do you look like? I hope not smart. He squints his eyes and leans closer again, but I lean backwards to dodge it. Never mind, it doesn't matter. With that, he turns, fumbles around for a moment in search of the door handle, and shuts the door behind him. Kenji, everybody! Fucking Kenji. I'll give you 2 hints on whose route I'm going to be trying to get on. For this. God damn. Oh. I slide the key into the lock of my door marked room 119. Harry Potter looking ass. Yup. Harry Potter looking ass. And, oh my god, we're gonna get a lot of Kenji. I'm gonna tell you right now, we're gonna get a lot of Kenji. Bleak beige walls, white linen, a desk made of some type of light wood, ugly curtains. It's no one's room. Impersonal, like my hospital room was. A bags are sitting at the foot of my bed, looking a lot emptier than they did this morning. The closet is sitting open, stocked with my clothes. Also, it seems that there are a number of school uniforms hanging there as well. That bad look is sus. A note is pinned to the sleeve of one of the shirts. Hi, He-chan. We unpacked your things and made your bed. They said if these don't fit, then you should go to the office tomorrow. If you have any problems, you can always call us. Love, Mom and Dad. Well, at least I don't have to worry about unpacking. I kind of hoped I would have. Then there would be something to do. It's still too early. I put the note down on the desk and lie down on the bed, feeling drained. Laying there makes me want to read something, but I have nothing with me. I wonder if the hospital conditioned me for wanting to read whenever I have nothing to do. Ooh, my bitrate is going to hell. Yeah, my bitrate is acting up. I'll try to finish this scene off and then I'm gonna end it, just because this is not looking nice. Everyone is home, so that's probably it. The restless urge just keeps growing until I have to stand up. Maybe it's stress or something. I was pretty nervous about it before coming, and for the entire day too. I still am, I think. Damn. I have to distract myself somehow, so I won't be at this I won't be this unnatural all the time. Tomorrow, I'll go borrow some books from the library. Yeah, I'll do that. But for now, the bottles of medications neatly arranged on my night table catch my eye. I pick up one and shake it just to hear the contents rattle inside, and then read the glued-on pharmacy label. Sao Nakai. Take 2 tablets daily to stay alive. It doesn't really say that, but it could just as well. It's kind of twisted, having your life depend on chemicals like this. I resent it a little, but what choice do I have? With a sigh, I begin my new daily ritual of taking the right number of pills from each bottle, being careful to check the correct dosages. I lie down again, feeling hollow and uncertain, and after that I keep staring at the blank, unfamiliar ceiling for a long time. Oh, yeah. Yeah, stream is acting up on me. Yeah, stream is 100% acting up on me. I need this scene to finish off quickly. Doesn't start looking any more familiar, not even after darkness falls and long shadows draw across my room like fingers. God damn it. Come on, stream, hold together. The sheets feel slightly more comfortable, warm, and nest-like against the chill that passes for room temperature here. Soon, the lighter shade of darkness that is the ceiling looks like every ceiling does at night, and it becomes the only thing I recognize anymore. The night beckons me to sleep, and I feel the coldness of unfamiliarity and fear creeping up my spine once again. And I keep drifting further away from the world I knew. Okay, we're gonna new save state. I'll go back to the menu. Alright, because things are kind of going a little haywire here, which I'm not 100% sure why. Actually, I kind of got a feeling. Just everyone's home and using, so that's fine. It's okay. We got a good chunk of the way in there. I am trying to do this in three streams, so that's 1 stream down. Got 2 more to go. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully it goes well. If I gotta go a little beyond, I'll go a little beyond. It is what it is. I'm not gonna cry about it. I'm still trying to just celebrate it. Oh my god, bitrate, what are you doing to me? Okay, I'm gonna try to make this quick, go through my schedule once again, like I did yesterday, so I'll just do it now. Okay, so Sunday at 10 o'clock, more Katawa Shoujo. No stream Monday. Tuesday at 5:30 p.m., I am building the Lego Scout Trooper head I got from my bestie Mary. Wednesday, no stream. Thursday, more Katawa Shoujo, and if I'm lucky, that'll finish off what I'm doing. Friday, no stream. And Saturday, at 6 p.m., Kingdom Hearts. Wonder if the meds will have any effects on them. They keep him alive and usually make him very sleepy. That's like the main things. They just make him tired. Yeah, because stream is actually going really nutso right now for me. I'm gonna end her off now for sure. So yeah, thanks everyone for, watching, commenting, and lurking. I always appreciate it very much. Hope everyone has a really great New Year. It's our first day of 2022. Let's make it better than 2021. Please. So yeah, I hope everyone has themselves a great rest of the day, and I'll see you next time.